Dear children, welcome to the last chapter of computer applications, that is array. In all the previous chapters, the data or variables are handled using one or more than one variable to store and manipulate data. In the previous working, we did not have any option to retain huge amount of data as one unit. There are situations we need to store multiple data in a single unit. For example, to store the subject marks of you. You have 10 subjects and we need to store those marks under the name of one variable. If you don't have the knowledge of array, then how we will be storing? You will be declaring 10 variables and you will be storing those marks. In order to handle 10 variables, it is difficult. If we have the knowledge of array, rather declaring 10 variables, you can declare only one variable. In that one variable itself, all the subject marks, that is 10 subjects and its marks can be stored. So we are going to introduce the array concept here. So let us start. In this chapter, we will be focusing upon concept of array, types of array, representation of array, array index, declaration and use, array of objects, basic programs related with the array. See, as I told you, an array is a collection of items or values of same data type. Here you can store only same type of data. Means integer type array you are declaring means we are able to store only integers in that. And its name will be one name, referred by one name. The second point, each memory location of the array stores only one value. When you declare an array, you will be getting memory locations. In that memory location, you are able to store only one value, not many items in one memory location. The value stored in the memory location is known as elements. The items, whatever you are storing in the array, each item will be known as elements of the array. Now, the important point over why array is important. Because it reduces variable overloading in the memory. Instead of 10 or 15 or 100 variables, you can manage with one variable. And array will be processed very fast because it's a reference type variable. Array are of two types. One is single dimensional array and next one is double dimensional array. Double dimensional array is also known as multi-dimensional array. See the representation of one dimensional array. It's only having one dimension. Only having row. So this is the representation. In this is a memory location. This is another. All memory locations are named under 1. So each will hold a data item of same kind. See the representation of double dimensional array. This is having row and columns. Row as well as columns. This is almost same as your matrix representation. This year you have practiced the matrix and almost the same representation is there for two-dimensional array. So it's having row as well as columns. We are going to learn in this chapter only single dimensional array. Remember, this time you have only single dimensional array because the syllabus is already cut short. Last year there were double dimensional array also. Now look at the way how you are going to represent the data items in the array. A diagram representing 10 elements. How to store 10 elements in an array. See, this is my array name. These are the values I have stored to the array, and this is the array index. This array index can be called indices, otherwise subscript. So array index, look at the array index. It's starting from 0. Always it will start from 0. Whether the array is having 100 elements, whether the array is having 2 elements or any number, the starting will be of 0. Index I am telling. So index will start from 0 to the total number of elements, that is the length. So that total number of elements minus 1, that will be the last index. So here you can see the last index as 9. When you count the total number of elements here, then you will be knowing that this is 10 elements stored. But the array starts from 0, so the last index will be 9. Remember, this is the basic concept of array. It's very important. Your array index starts from 0 and it will end. Suppose the total number of elements is n, then the last index will be n minus 1. That is very important. So under one name ARR, this name can be changed. I have stored 10 elements. So under one name itself 10 elements are stored. These are elements. So array size n, then last index n minus 1. Okay, this array holds 10 elements and its index subscript vary from 0 to 9. I think it is clear for you now. Next is, a particular value in an array is referenced using the array name followed by the index in brackets. You wanted to see this representation. This is the graphical representation. In this you wanted to point out this one. If we say ARR, then it's not giving any clear idea about where the element is stored, otherwise which element you wanted to point out. So in order to avoid such problems, how to call an array element, that I am going to discuss just now. See, if you wanted to point out 94, look at its index position first. What is the index position of 94? 2. So I will say ARR, then in square bracket 2. So ARR of 2, that means in this index position whatever is there. So index position 2, what is there? 94 is there. So this is the way how you can point out a particular element from the array. So consider another example, ARR of 7. Then what will be the value? 7 won't be printed. The value pointed out will be 81. ARR of 7 means 81. So look at this example, system.out.println, ARR of 2. 2 means, what is that? 94. So 94 will be printed. Now these are some points. The values held in the array are called array elements. Already we have discussed. An array stores multiple values of the same data type. In an integer array you cannot store string. In an integer array you cannot store characters. Okay. The element type can be primitive type or object reference. Primitive type like long, int, float, double, char, etc. can be the data type. Otherwise like string, reference type can be there as the type. We can create an array of integers, array of character, string, etc. as I have mentioned just now. In Java, array itself is an object. This you need to remember. Okay, so this is also another point. Name of the array is a object reference variable. Okay, this is a reference variable name. Array itself, I told you, it's a reference variable. So the name of that variable is a reference variable name. Now we are going to see how to declare an array. These are the valid declarations. Two declarations are there. Either you can see this is the type, then square brackets. This is the name of the array. Here, this is first method and this is the second method. Float, then price. Float is the type of the array, name of the array, then square bracket came. Both are valid, but the first format is generally more readable, this one. You can go for any one, but don't be confused when we give questions. This is invalid, this declaration is invalid. Don't say, because both the ways you can declare the array. So once again, first method is float. That means the type of the array, then square bracket, then name of the array. Here, first type of the array, then name of the array, then square brackets. Both are valid. Let us see one example how to declare an array. First, this is the official way of declaring an array. Int, it means data type. ARR, array name. See, second method I have followed here. Int ARR is equal to new int 10. This is the original way of declaring array. Since this is a reference variable, object type, new operator is used. Okay, so this is the syntax. So this statement will declare an array of 10 memory locations. That means we are able to store 10 elements in our array. And what is the type of array? Integer type elements can be stored. So remember the format of array declaration. First, the data type, then array name is equal to new operator and the size. See, integer type array. The type of array does not specify its size, but each object of that type has a specific size. This does not specify the size. Okay, we don't know now what is the size, but if you declare int 10, that means 10 memory locations of integer type, and you are knowing what is the memory occupied by int, 4 bytes. So each location will have 4 byte, 4 byte, 4 byte, 4 byte, 10. That means 40 bytes over here total. So that is the size of the array. So depending upon the data type, the size may vary. See, when you declare this statement, you will get this type of mapping. That means an array will be named ARR and 10 memory locations will be declared. Since it is an integer array, the default value will be 0. Let us see more examples about array declaration. Int. This is the first method. Int, then square bracket, prices is the array name, is equal to new int 50. So an array of 50 memory locations will be created. This step I have splitted and given over here. This is one step process, this is two step process. The same process I have written over here this way. First declaration. Boolean, this is array, flags. This is the name of the array. Now I am going to create memory location for this. This is only declaration. This is memory allocation. Flags is equal to new boolean 20. This is the memory allocation. So the declaration, memory allocation. This is equal to int a, and the next statement a is equal to 15. The same way here. This is only declaration and this is the memory allocation. Here it is combined and given. these two processes combined and given. Same way, this is a combined declaration of char array, character type array. Char codes is equal to new char 20. An array will be created of character type with 20 elements or 20 memory locations. Now, bounds checking, that means when you create an array, it has a fixed size. The index will vary from 0 to the total number of elements in the array. That has to vary from 0 to the total number minus 1. So, index value must be in bounds to 0 to n minus 1. N is the total number of elements. Suppose you are declaring an array of 10, then 0 to 9 it will vary. It should vary. If you are giving other than this, see our example, now I am considering 0 to 9, that means 10 elements in the array. And if you are trying to access an element which is there in 11th position, it is not present in the array, then array index out of bound exception will be shown by Java. That means you are trying to access an array index which is not present. Array index is present or not, that will be checked by Java interpreter itself. So this error when you will get if you are trying to access an array index which is not declared in your array. So remember this error message and when it is created. See the example here, the same thing I have declared here. See, I have declared an array of 100 size. That means the index will vary from 0 to 99. And I am trying to access 100 over here. 100 is not present in this range. So, I will be getting an error message. What type of error? The error which I have mentioned previously, that error you will be getting. Now, each array object has a public constant called length. See, length. In string, we had a method, we learned a method length of, length then parenthesis. In order to find the length of the string, here related with array, there is no such methods are available, but there is an attribute related with array which can be used for finding the number of elements that you can store in the array. So, length is not a function, but it is an attribute or public constant used to get the array length. See example how to use that. I wanted to find the length of ARR array. Then int a is equal to, the length will be returned in integer format. Int a is equal to ARR dot length. Mention here there is no parenthesis. If there is parenthesis, it's a function related with a string. It's a function, but this is not a function. It is an attribute of array used to store the length of the array. So make the difference here. Note that length holds the number of elements that can be represented in the array. Initializer list. See, this is initializer list. When you declare an array, then you can initialize the elements along with that. An initializer list can be used in instantiate and initialize an array in one step. Okay, to declare an array as well as giving basic value to the array can be done in one step. So the values are delimited by braces and separated by commas. See, braces here and each value separated by comma. So this is an example where you are declaring the array and you are giving the values or basic value to the array. This is another method where you can initialize and declare. This is static initialization. All other methods will be dynamic. Static means the values you are giving as fixed. These are fixed values. Okay, so this you need to remember. Note that even an initializer list is used when you declare. From the above discussion, you will be knowing now when initializer list is used, new operator won't be used. And there is no size specified. Okay, when we see the example here, see in this new operator is there? No. Is there any number of elements? Is it mentioned? No. The number of elements means whatever you are giving, that will be the number of elements. Here 7 elements are there. That is the number of elements. So no size value is specified and the new operator not used. The size of the array is determined by the number of items in the initializer list. Whatever number you have given, that will be the size. And the initializer list can only be used in the array declaration. It can be used while you declare your array. This way only it can be used. Now we are going to see some programs related with the array. I will start with the declaration and will end with some programs. So let us see the first program. This is not a program actually, it's only how to declare an array and how to print the elements. This method, initializer methods, you are going to initialize an array with the basic values. So I have declared an array and its values, starting values I have given now. So what is the name of my array? M. How many elements are present in the array? 4 elements. Very important to note this. M is the name of the array and the number of elements present is 4. Each data item is separated with a comma and the items are enclosed in curly brackets. So I have declared an array with these values. Now I wanted to print the elements. So what is the starting index value? 0. Its value is, index number is 0, then 1, then 2, then 3. It's 0 to 3 it's ranging. That's why I is equal to 0, I less than 4. Less than 4. Otherwise I less than or equal to 3. Last index is 3, that's why I plus plus. System.out.println. This is the way how you are going to access the array. M of I. M of I means what is the value of I? 0. So item will be printed from M of 0. What is M of 0? 2 will be printed. Now again I plus plus. I becomes 1. M of I. M of 1. M of 1 means 3 will be printed. Again I plus plus. Becomes 2. M of I. M of 2 means 4 will be printed. Now I plus plus. M becomes 3. M of 3. M of 3 means 5 will be printed. So let us look the output. Two, 3, 4, 5. This is the output. Now see the next program. You are requested to write all the programs in your copy. Array as a parameter list. When we started our Java programming, we took the input by using the function argument along with main. So array also can be declared here. Here no size you can mention. So you cannot write here 10 or 15 whatever. The size cannot be mentioned in this way. The number of elements that you are giving while the input process, that will be the length. Remember, this is very important. You cannot mention the size over here. The type and array name, that's all. So we are expecting some values while running our program and we wanted to print those values. Okay, so we don't know what is the length. That's why the starting index position is always 0 So I less than ARR length. ARR is my array. Its length, it less than. See, suppose I am giving 5. Then the loop will run from 0 to I less than 5. That means 4. 0 to 4 it will run. 0 to 4 means how many elements? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 5 elements. And printing ARR of I means ARR of 0. Then again loop value will increment. So ARR of I means ARR of 1. Then ARR of 2, 3, 4. All the elements will be printed. So let us see the output. When you will get this window, don't forget to put the curly brackets. Now start writing the elements separated with a comma. 4, comma, 8, comma, 9, comma, 5. I kept how many elements? 4 elements. So the length of the array is 4. So the loop will run from 0 to 3. Let us see the output now. Next is how to declare the array in the official way. Okay, this is the way how you can get your outputs. Original array declaration by scanner class. So in order to use scanner, you need to write this, then object for the scanner. See, array I have declared. What is the size of my array? 5. Now giving a message. This will enable your terminal window, and since it is having 5 elements, you need to write the loop from 0 to less than 5. That means it will run from 0 to 4. M of I is equal to, I am reading, when I run the loop, I am going to read the value and storing in the particular index positions. So M of I means M of 0. This element will be stored. Now M of 1, next element will be stored. M of, this loop is running continuously, that's why. So it will run up to 0 to 4 and the array will be filled in this process. System.out.println, the entered array elements. This I am printing. I have got the input now. Now just I am printing those elements from here. That's all. So how to print? Again you need to run the loop from 0 to 5. And what has to be printed? M of I. That's all. So let us look for the process how you are going to do this. So void main, enter the array elements. You can run the array elements like this. See, we have 5 elements declared. That's why 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The entered array elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now look at, I am running the loop again so that I can enter the values in this way. Minus 4. The entered array elements 7, 4, 5, 8, 3. So the array elements, what is entered, those elements are printed over here. Okay, you can enter the array elements like this or column wise. Otherwise you can enter the array elements in row wise also, because we are using scanner classes. So you need to separate those elements by using either enter key, otherwise by using space bar. The default delimiter is space. That's why. This is the first program. In the previous 3 programs, we only have seen how to declare an array and how to print its values that you have stored in the array. Now we are going to see the first program, that is adding all the elements from the array. So let us start. This is your Java util class import, then the object for the particular scanner class. This is the declaration of your array. I have kept 5 array elements only here in all my program, because in order to enter 10 elements and that will take time. That's why. This is terminal window activation. Now this is the process of reading the array elements. I have read all the 5 elements now. Okay, when I run the loop, then I will be receiving all the 5 values. Now what we wanted to do is I need to find the sum of all elements, that's all. So I am declaring a variable and initializing that variable to 0. Running the loop again, I wanted to access the array one by one. Array elements I am going to access one by one. 0 to 4 I will be running the loop. So 0 to I less than 5 means it will run from 0 to 4. That means 5 times it will run. Sum is equal to sum plus m of I. Sum variable is used for storing the sum. So what will be added to sum? M of I. That means m of 0. M of 0 means first element. Then m of I means m of 1, second element. Then m of I. Again m of 2. That will be added. So keep on adding these values and this loop will be repeated how many times? 5 times. When it is terminated, it will come to this step. What is that? The sum is equal to the variable name. What is the variable name? Sum. So let us see the answer. Enter the array elements. We are going to enter array elements. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. The sum is equal to 63. Let us close. And the next program is printing highest element from the array. Printing highest element from the array. Here also I am using 5 elements only, and I am going to get those elements from the scanner class. So up to here it is already mentioned. No need of explaining up to here. Now you need to find the biggest element. So I have declared a variable named big and initialized that variable to m of 0. M of 0 means m is my array. Its first location element, 0th position element will be my biggest number at present, because there can be minus numbers also. If you give big is equal to 0, there will be problem with the minus numbers. That's why I kept m of 0 as the initialization. That means the first location number, 0th index position number will be considered as the biggest one. So this program will work for negative as well as positive numbers. So I am running the loop from 1 to 5. Okay. Now what I have to check? If m of I, look at one example here. I am here 5 I am typing, then 4 I am typing, then 8 I am typing, then 9, then 1. Suppose this is my elements. Okay, these are my elements. Now in big, what is there? In the big is equal to m of 0. M of 0 means 5. So basically in big 5 is there. Okay, this is the 0th index position number. That's why that is there in m of 0. Now I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Loop is running. Checking m of I means 5. Okay, m of 0 means 5. 5 greater than big. In big body is there 5. 5 greater than 5, it's false. So this won't change. This is false. That's why it won't change. And this loop will be running. See the curly bracket here. This loop will be running again. I plus plus. It becomes 2. It becomes 1. Now this will be the element. Checking m of I. M of I means 4. 4 greater than big. Big means 5. Is this condition is true? No. So this won't change. And I plus plus. This becomes 2. 2 means 8. M of I means m of 2, that is 8. 8 greater than big. Big means 5. So 8 greater than 5? Yes. So big will be replaced with the, it was 5, now it will be m of I, that means 8. 8. Again the loop is running, I plus plus. Now this is 3. M of I, that means m of 3, that means 9. Checking 9 greater than 8. Big is 8. At present, which number is big? 8. 9 greater than 8? Obviously, it is true. So, this will be replaced again. So, big will be 9 now. I plus plus. The last index position, that is the fourth one, that is 1. M of I greater than big. In big, 9 is there. Here, 1 is there. 1 greater than 9, false. This won't change. Again, I plus plus. The loop, when you check the condition, the loop terminates. So, coming out of this loop here, system.out.print, the greatest element is equal to big. What is present in big now? 9. So, 9 will be printed. So, let us see the output once again, the original output. So, I am compiling it, then running the program. Enter the array elements. You can give, see I am giving -5, then 6, then 8. Enter the array elements. I am giving -5, then 6, then 7, 10, then 4. The greatest element is equal to 10. Now the next program, sum of even numbers from the array, only even numbers. See, the array size is 5. I am giving 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6. The question is, you need to find the even numbers. That means 6, its sum. 2, 4, 6, its sum has to be printed. Okay, so up to here, any number can be kept in the array. It's same. So this is the process of inputting, and we have completed that. We need to find the sum of even numbers. So I need a variable and kept as sum is equal to 0. Now running the loop from 1 to I less than 5. Because why I have taken 5? Because the size is 5 only, less than 5. That's why. Now checking, if m of I modulus 2, m of I means, see, m of 0. First when you run the loop, the I is 0. So m of 0. M of 0 means 2. 2 modulus 2 is equal to 0? Yes. Then this process will be done. What is this process? Sum is equal to sum plus m of I. In sum, 0 was there, 0 plus 2. Again, the loop is running, I plus plus, checking. The value is 3 now. M of I is 3. 3 modulus 2 is equal to 0. No. This process won't be executed. Again coming over here, checking 4. 4 modulus 2 is equal to 0. Yes, this also will be added. So, 2 plus 4, 6. Again coming over here, 5. 5 modulus 2 is equal to 0. No, this won't be executed. Again coming here, 6. 6 modulus 2 is equal to 0. Yes, this will be added. That means 6 plus 6, 12. And the loop will be terminated. The sum of even numbers will be printed. Look for the output. Compiling, then void main, enter the array elements. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sum of even numbers from the array. See, 2, 4, 6. It will be added. All even numbers are added. Next is sum of even index position numbers. Even index position. Okay, when you consider an index position, see, when I consider 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the array elements, 5 elements. This is 0th index position. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So, here the question is to add all those elements from even index position. That means this one, and this one. Whether it is even number or odd number does not matter, but those numbers present in the index position, even index position, 0 also I have considered as even. Mathematically you believe 0 as even, that's why. 0th index position also I am considering. Okay, so add those numbers. So up to here there is no problem at all. I need to find the sum. So sum is equal to 0. Loop is running up to 5. I am checking I modulus 2 is equal to 0. Okay. So index positions I modulus 2. 0 modulus 2 is equal to 0. Yes. Then sum will be added. Now coming over here, 1 modulus 2. The index position is varying. That only we need to check. 1 modulus 2 is equal to 0. No, won't be added. Now 2 modulus 2 is equal to 0. Yes. Then sum is equal to sum plus m of I. That element will be added. And this process will be going on. The sum will be printed. So whenever you need to check the index positions, then you will be doing I modulus 2. Let us remove this and run the program. Enter the array elements. I am going to enter 1, then 2, 3, 4, then 5. So I need to get the sum of this, this and this. So the sum of index numbers, even index numbers from the array is 9. How you got this 9? Adding this 4 plus 5, 9. So this is the answer. The second last question. Sum of even index position elements and product of odd index elements. Sum we have done just now, and the product of odd index numbers. So the loop is running. In this I have kept a static declaration. In the previous programs we were doing dynamic initialization, but here I am keeping the elements as constant, that is static method. See, look at here, int m of is equal to, these are the elements, these are fixed now, and in the product I have initialized to 1. You are knowing what is the reason, because when you multiply numbers you need to keep the initialization as 1, otherwise you will get the answer as 0, that's why. Addition I kept as usual 0 itself. These are two variables. Now look at the length of the array. There is no need of calculating the length. You can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements are there. That's why less than 7. 0 to less than 7. Now I am checking I modulus 2 is equal to 0 means which index is there? Even. Product will be calculated. Else what will be calculated? Sum will be calculated. That's all. When the loop is running from here, how many times? 7 times. The product as well as sum will be calculated. Product will be calculated for the even index position numbers, and sum will be calculated for the odd index position numbers. At last it's printing the answer here. Okay. See, when you are doing this you will be getting constant answer, because the array is kept as static declaration. See, this product means it is displaying the product of even position, that means 1, 9, 6 and 5. Sum means 7, then 2, then 3. Its sum will be displayed. Once again you can run and see the answer. Every time you will get a constant answer only. This is the last program. It is merging of array. Two array. See, these are two arrays over here. It has to be merged as one. Okay, this is one array. This is one separate array, M. What is the next array? N. See the total number of elements in this array. How many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. Here how many elements are there? 3 elements. It has to be merged and you need to form a third array which is having all these 7 elements. That is why I have declared a new array of 7 elements. Okay. So we are going to merge the array. So I have declared a variable as I is equal to 0. First, I am running considering this array only. I am not considering this. I am considering this array only. Let us pick up all these elements and keep in this array. In this array. Okay. I am picking up all the elements from M and I am going to keep those elements in A. So, what is the index position of this? It will vary from 0 to 3. Okay, that's why you see J is equal to 0. Then J less than or equal to 3. So A of I is equal to M of J. That means loop is running from 0th position to 3. 0 to 3. A of I means it's an array which is only declared. Memory is allocated. A of I means A of 0. A of I, just look at A of I means what is that? 0. In that position, what will be there? M of J will be stored. M of J means 120. So 120 is stored. In which array? In A, this array 120 is stored. Next, what is going to be done? I plus plus. I becomes what? 1. Now A of I means A of 1. What will be stored? M of J. M of J means this number will be stored. 7 is stored. Now next I plus plus. I becomes 2. Then in second index position, what will be stored? This will be stored. 9 will be stored. Okay, 9 will be stored. And next when the loop will run, 12 also will be stored. At present, just look at this loop is getting over and you need to concentrate in the value of I. Okay, when you run this complete loop, the value of I ends at 0, 1, 2, 3. What is the final value of I? 3. Just remember the value of I is 3. Now, I am not declaring I again. I, the present value is 3. Now, I am running another loop. This is to access the elements of this array. Okay, so very important. Look at here. The loop is running from 0 to 2. That means 3 times it will run. 3 times because I wanted to access elements from this array only. Okay, how many elements are there? 3 only. So 0 to less than or equal to 2 means 3 times it's running. A of I, very important. I told you what is the final value of I when we have stopped this loop. It was 3. Okay, now I plus plus means it is 4. 4. So A of I means A of 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth position element will be N of K. N of K means N of 0. K is 0. N of K. N of K. N of 0. N of 0 is minus 5. Okay. Now I plus plus. I becomes, I is changing. In this loop also I was changing. Here also I is changing. So I becomes 5 now. Okay. So just look at K is equal to 1. K less than or equal to, this is correct. Now A of 5, five index position will be is equal to N of K. N of K means N of K. K means 1. N of K means 34. 34 will be stored here. Now this becomes I plus plus. That means it is 6. 6. In this 6th position, A of I means 6. 6 position n of k. N of k means 65 will be kept, comma 65. Okay, now I plus plus. Otherwise also here there is, it is 7 now, but the loop ends over here. That's why this loop will be terminated. And here we are going to print the original array where we have kept the elements of m as well as n. Okay, which is that array? That array is A. So we have formed a third array which is having all the elements of m and all the elements of n in the order. First m elements will be kept, then the elements from n will be kept. Now in order to print those elements which is stored in array A, you need to know the total number of elements there in the array. What is the total number of elements? 4 plus 3, 7 elements. So the loop will run from 0 to 6. 0 to 6 means 7 times. So print those elements. A of I means A of 0, then A of 1, A of 3 up to A of 6. All the elements will be printed. Just look at the answer. See, merged array. You just look at 7 elements are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This was the first array elements and this was the second array elements. So it is merged to a third array called A. So students, we have completed 3 basic declaration programs and 6 other programs. I am winding up. You will be getting one more video related with the array programs. Then after we will be continuing with the revision. Take care of yourself. Bye.